The Atlanta Falcons find themselves in one of those weird positions where they've got a real deal franchise quarterback in Matt Ryan. But you've also got a Matt Ryan that's in his mid-30s, and you're trying to make the decision, like, at this stage, how many years does he really truly have left? Do you want to go all in with him and try to recapture some of the magic that you got from the 2016 season, where you were a big choke job away from winning the Super Bowl? Like, could you reasonably get there? Or is it time to start thinking about the future, especially with the new general manager and a new head coach, and for a team that was picking in the top 5 in a draft that had quarterbacks that were going to be available with that 4th overall pick? Lots of decisions that could be made. And it certainly seemed like, at least, that the Atlanta Falcons made their decision that they're still with Matt Ryan. They believe in Matt Ryan, and they're going to try and win now with Matt Ryan, because they didn't draft a quarterback 4th overall who realistically would have sat entirely on the bench behind Matt Ryan, watching and waiting for 1 year, maybe even 2 years, maybe hell, who knows more. They drafted Kyle Pitts, the super stud weapon, the tight end from Florida, 4th overall. That screams of we think we can win with Matt Ryan now, we want to win now type of selection. Maybe some folks would say, well, what about the defense? What about it? You got a chance to get a truly special, almost generational type of weapon, like a gold jacket level physical talent specimen like Kyle Pitts. You'd go and do that, especially if you want to win with Matt Ryan as your quarterback and you believe that you can. So, in that sense, once you make that decision and that's what you calibrate to and that's what you're going to do, then everything that you do has to be about trying to win it all with Matt Ryan in whatever window of time that he has left. That's the decision that you appear to have been making by taking Kyle Pitts 4th overall. That's what I would assume. That's what rational, reasonable people would assume. But maybe not. Because we've heard different rumors and so forth talking about the Falcons potentially trading Julio Jones, and we're finding out today that apparently Julio Jones has actually asked for a trade previously from the Atlanta Falcons. He's looking to go somewhere where he wants to win. And now you're talking about the Atlanta Falcons potentially trading a guy that's been, an elite level player at the position for the past decade, which is exactly what the hell you would have expected you would have been paying for when you made that big move up the draft in 2011 to go from the late 20s into pick 6 to go get Julio. Like, Julio's been as advertised. Julio's been what you would expect. He's a real deal. He's that dude. He is that true elite number 1 type of wide receiver in the league. One of the best of his generation. I don't think anybody disputes that. So what I can't understand is these rumors that have been out there for months, and then now you're finding out that he potentially wants to be traded, is asked to be traded. I can't figure out what the fuck the Atlanta Falcons are doing here. You couldn't possibly have been saying we're going to draft Kyle Pitts to replace Julio Jones and trade away Julio Jones, all the while not managing to do that where you got any draft pick capital in this past month's draft. That makes no damn sense whatsoever. That's a lateral move of the worst type of order. Like, even if you think Kyle Pitts ends up being everything that his physical skills and talent suggest that he could be, which is an all-pro, gold jacket type of performer, then you're swapping out one for the other. And on the one hand, you're saying, okay, hey, there's worse positions that you could be in. You're trading one stud for another stud who is about a decade younger, so you're just coming into the peak of his career. You're not making your team better. And we have to be clear about this. Matt Ryan is a franchise quarterback in the league. Matt Ryan is a damn good quarterback and has been for a long period of time, over a decade. You don't have a ton of time left with Matt Ryan. These type of one-off, swip or swap type of moves don't make you better. And you need to get better, and a lot better. Because your team was picking 4th overall in the draft for an effing reason. So I can't imagine the logic or justification that would be going through the Falcons organization's thought process here of saying, yeah, we passed on a Justin Fields or a Mac Jones or trying to maybe even move up, and get Trey Lance perhaps. Because we believed in Matt Ryan, because we think we can win now with Matt Ryan, and then sit there and trade away the Hall of Fame talent while he still has something left to give. That just doesn't wash. That makes absolutely no sense. Like, why would you do that? If you knew, this is what makes it worse. If Julio had actually requested a trade months ago, and you had this information before the draft, and you knew about this as an organization, and you sat there and said to yourself, there could be the realistic possibility that we might have to trade him, and who knows how this is going to play out post-June 1. Like, what did you think that's the impetus to say, you know what? Maybe it's time to rethink things. Maybe it's time to change our strategy. Maybe, just maybe, it is time to truly think about the future. And no matter how big of a fan of Kyle Pitts and his talents I am, the reality is you had a Fields or a Jones there. If you have any inclination at all, that one of those two dudes could be that dude, then you must fucking take them. You must. And if you don't, maybe you don't, and that's why you didn't do it. But again, I come back to the fundamental premise of you keep Matt Ryan, you don't draft a quarterback in round 1 because you believe that you can win with Matt Ryan. And in order to do that, you need to improve your team and improve it markedly on the defensive side of the ball and also the offensive side of the ball. Trading away your number 1 wide receiver doesn't get the job done. That doesn't do it. That makes absolutely no sense. You're spinning your wheels. You're making lateral moves. And you're hoping that even Pitts, even if you were trying to play him out of wide receiver instead of tight end, you're hoping that he could aspire to be Julio's level of performance. But you don't know. You at least know for sure what you get with Julio. You don't know with Pitts at this point. That's a lot of pressure to put on a top 5 pick. It really is. So, if you were going to trade Julio, you should have already damn done it if you say cap impacts. The cap is all fugazi fucking fake anyways. What the hell's the difference? You can't trade Julio now. I mean, and realistically, what type of value are you truly going to get back at this point? Are you going to get a team that's a contending team that's going to maybe be willing to give up a first-round pick for him? I doubt it. Crazier shit has happened. But I really, truly doubt it. Because even those teams that might be willing to give up a first-round pick for Julio Jones might not have the cap space to make the move happen, make the deal work. Like, it's one of these things, like, are they going to pay for a decade of the past of Julio's name and reputation, or realistically pay for what he's probably got left? It's 2 or 3 more productive years. That's not worth a first-round pick. So you are, I think, getting to a point where there's a diminishing return by the day of what you could actually acquire by trading Julio Jones. And if that's the case, then you don't make the deal and you ride out the storm. Because again, you've got to go all in around Matty Ice right now. And if you say, well, Julio wants to be traded, he don't want to be there anymore because he wants to win. Okay, that's all fine and good, but there's no guarantee you get traded anywhere else that automatically wins. And a lot of times, these guys can sit there and be bought with additional money or signing bonus. And a lot of times, that's frankly what this bullshit's about, and it's just leverage, etc. But you got to find a way to figure this out. The Atlanta Falcons have been incredibly good to Julio Jones from a financial standpoint. Giving him big money deals when they didn't even have to. They weren't in a position where they absolutely must yet, and they did it anyways. They took care of him. They really did. Like, figure out a way to make this happen. Because then you're also setting up Kyle Pitts in a really awkward, unfavorable position, because now he's going to be the, hey, you're the Julio replacement. Or you're asking Calvin Ridley to step up from being wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 1. And you might think that works, but you look at Pittsburgh, Juju Smith-Schuster, when you have Antonio Brown on one side, the dynamics are much different. When Juju becomes the featured dude, it's just not the same. Atlanta trading Julio Jones, I'm sorry, just makes no damn sense. You say cap this and cap that, all cap that bullshit. Once you passed on drafting a quarterback in round 1, that means you were all in on Matt Ryan at least for this year. What that means then is the moves that you make are all going to have to be designed to improve the team around him in the short term. There is no possible reason or justification that you could give to me or any logical thinking person that trading away Julio Jones right here, right now, makes the Atlanta Falcons better right here, right now.